Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Never put your hand on me.
Good afternoon, everybody. Senator Alex Padilla. You guys have some questions. I'm going to read a brief statement. I will not be taking questions, but allow me to read my statement. I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable. And we'll have more to say. We'll have more to say in the coming days. Let me say just briefly in Spanish as well. Soy el senador Alex Padilla y estuve aquí porque tuve una junta para recibir más información de los representantes de la administración, especialmente porque desde el principio del término de Donald Trump y especialmente esta última semana por lo que ha ocurrido aquí en la región de Los Ángeles, hemos pedido más información para entender las pólizas, las estrategias de la administración.
All right, you're listening to a press conference from the senior senator from California, Alex Padilla, after exiting a federal building following a skirmish inside a press conference with DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. That video is on the right side of your screen. He was detained and put on the floor and put in handcuffs. But as he just clarified in his English remarks, which he made, he's now repeating them in Spanish. He said, "I was not arrested. I was not detained." He then added, if this is how the administration, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they are doing to, and then he went on to list different kinds of immigrants at Latino communities. He said farm workers, cooks, these people across the country. He then ended by saying, we will hold this administration accountable. I want to turn now to Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. As a member of the military who spent your life defending the U.S. Constitution, I just want to get your reaction to what we've seen unfold in the last hour or so.
Well, Christina, we didn't see everything that happened. We saw part of a clip with Senator Padilla. But what I perceived from that clip is he was manhandled. It was reprehensible. He talked about a couple of things that are of interest to me because having been in the military, there have been many times in my career where I've had to address crisis situations. we're in a crisis situation right now because there's a lack of information, as he said. There's a lack of communication between the federal government and the state and local government in California. Tensions are brewing. People have not calmed down, and that's another indicator of something you really have to try and attempt to do in a crisis. And you have to try and find common ground. This certainly isn't it. All of that goes toward building trust, and as Senator Padilla just said, the citizens of California, his constituents, do not have trust in what's going on with ICE and the federal officials that have come into their state. So that's part of the problem. But when you see a U.S. senator treated like he's being treated right now, being thrown to the ground and handcuffed, and the statement that came out of Homeland Security.
General, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I'm going to have to interrupt one more time. The senator is speaking again in English. We're going to go back to the press conference. Please stand by.
This Saturday, I encourage everybody to please peacefully protest, just like I was calmly and peacefully listening in that press conference and attempting to ask a question. No violence, no vandalism. Please continue peacefully protesting, and that's all I will have to say today. Thank you very much.
Can you give us any insight what you and the secretary said afterwards?
Why did you come in and do that? Why did you disrupt it?
Christine, I don't know if you guys can hear me right now, and I'm not going to chase him because obviously, I mean, look, we can try. Come on, JB, let's go. But Senator Padilla, the senior senator from the state of California, you all saw in that moment, was thrown to the ground and placed into handcuffs by federal officials. He said he was here just to simply ask a question. Let's see if we can get him. Let me go up here. On my way. Sorry, Christina. Are you, Senator, are you okay? Are you injured?
Are you injured, though?
Any insight what you said with the secretary?
Senator, what did the secretary say?
Just one thing. They said they did
question about the images on the screen that you want to ask.
All right, that's Senator Alex Padilla, the senior senator from the state of California, driving away with his aides right now. Again, Senator Padilla is a lifelong resident of the city of Los Angeles. He was a city council member here. He became a state senator here, the Secretary of State of the state of California, and then became senator from California, appointed when Kamala Harris became the vice president, duly elected by the citizens of California. Now the senior senator from California remarking about being thrown to the floor by federal agents during that press conference with Secretary Kristi Noem. He said he was there to ask questions because he wasn't receiving answers to those questions from the Department of Homeland Security in the wake of this large-scale mass deportation immigration enforcement effort starting here in Los Angeles, a city with more undocumented immigrants, a county with more undocumented immigrants than any other in the United States of America, and an issue, again, particularly personal to Senator Padilla, being the son of Mexican immigrants who I know very well from speaking to him and spending a lot of time with Senator Padilla, were his role models when he grew up here in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. Still a community of immigrants, still a place very on edge at this hour over these ongoing raids. And that's something that Senator Padilla wants to center here in this conversation. He didn't answer questions about whether he was injured. He didn't answer questions about the conversation he reportedly had with Secretary Noem in the 15 minutes after that altercation. But we will certainly stay on top of this. And he encouraged people to go out, if I heard him correctly, to protest on Saturday the actions of this administration in the wake of this wide-scale mass deportation effort that's playing out, as he said, in Home Depot parking lots, in farms, places that we've reported from over the course of the last several days, in and around the neighborhoods of Los Angeles. Christina.